The following tutorial is brought to you by wholeloops.com.
It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Realist Puppet in the game. Today, we are conducting the greatest mic shootout of all time. The first and least expensive mic in today's shootout is the MXL 990. It comes in at just under $100 if you buy it with a shock mount, which I recommend you do so it doesn't sound like this when things touch your microphone stand. I have the special edition one that is just $60 because it doesn't come with the fancy shock mount. But this is actually the only mic in the whole shootout that has some bells and whistles to it. It includes a low cut switch on the side, which actually helps cut a lot of unnecessary bass out of your voice and made it sound a whole lot brighter. Very useful if your interface doesn't have its own low cut switch. And on the other side, we've got a 10 dB reduction switch if you want to turn down the volume 10 right here from the mic. But I like to keep that off and just control the gain with my preamp. The second mic in today's shootout is the Gnomon Tlm 49. Now this microphone retails new for as much as $1,500, but you can find that any day of the week used for about half that. I got this microphone used for $900, but just to keep the math easy, we're going to call it a $1,000 mic. And finally, we've got the pinnacle of vocal microphones, the Sony C800G, coming in at $10,000 retail price, and you could find these used for between $5 and $8, depending on the condition, even though they're a little bit rare and hard to find. Right now you're hearing my Sony microphone through the Vintech Audio X73 and the Tubetech CL1B compressor, but we're going to strip these pieces of gear away and show you what these three mics sound like just going straight into the Apollo using the internal preamps. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Realist Puppet in the game. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Realist Puppet in the game. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Realist Puppet in the game. 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 Now I gotta say, I was very, very surprised by the results of this test. Going into it, I was expecting one to just sound outstandingly bad, but really, there was not a huge difference between two of them, and then I felt the Sony one was definitely easy to pick out of the bunch in a blind test. But let's kick it up a notch.
Do your 808s sound like they belong in a recycling bin? Are your trap productions lacking that fresh organic hot sauce? Here at Whole Loops, we've got the product for you. Introducing Urban Beats 3, the latest addition to our best-selling bundle of trap snares, pop-in percussions, and the most disrespectful 808s we've ever harvested. Urban Beats 3 is available now only at wholeloops.com.
Let's add in a preamp. I'm going to enable my Vintech X73 preamp and disable the EQ and also bypass the Tubetech compressor, so we can take a closer look at what the external preamp adds versus running the mics directly into the internal. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Realist Puppet in the game. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Realist Puppet in the game. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Realist Puppet in the game. 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 Now this is where the gap starts to spread out. I think the Sony definitely took the lead over the other two. The Gnomon improved a whole lot, and the MXL didn't really seem to improve that much. And because what's going on in there is the cheaper mics and the cheaper build materials just don't capture the detail for the preamp to then work with and distort and amplify. So you're just getting less detail going into the MXL versus the Sony mic, which is just an insane amount of detail. So much detail that it almost doesn't even sound that great without a preamp to distort it a little bit. Now we're going to take all three mics and run them through the preamp with the EQ enabled, and also enable the Tubetech CL1B compressor. Let's check out the difference that these extra pieces of gear make on the way in. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Reels Puppet in the game. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Reels Puppet in the game. It's production time. I'm Reed Stefan, Reels Puppet in the game. 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 Now that was definitely more what I was expecting going into this blind test. The job of the analog gear is to really bring out and maximize the character of the signal going into it, which is why the difference between the three mics got even greater when we enabled the EQ and the compressor. But if you're not interested in all this outboard gear, then you're not really going to benefit from the detail that you're paying for in one of these more expensive microphones, and you may as well just save your money and get an MXL, because your ideas will be just as good through that microphone as they will through the $10,000 microphone. Moving on to the fourth and final test, we're going to run all three of these mics into a real song situation. I've performed an excerpt of my new song 100K through all three of these microphones for you guys to hear what it sounds like in the context of a finished song with some plugins and some compression and EQ on the way in. Let's check it out. 100K, 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 cause I'm working every day. 100K, 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 now I stack it in a day. Yeah, 100K, 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 oh, I've been working every day. 100K, 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 now I stack it in a day. Y'all 100K, 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 oh, I'm here working every day. 100K, 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 now I stack it in a day. So what was the conclusion of this test? You get what you pay for, and the choice is really up to you. What do you want to pay for? Are you going to benefit from that extra minuscule little bit of clarity in your voice? Are you going to benefit from the extra chunk of change in your pocket to invest in a bigger variety of tools to help you make music? Or are you going to benefit from just buying the most cost-efficient method to get the job done? And the answer to that question is really up to you. And I think the answer at this point is pretty clear of which one is the best. I think we all knew which one was going to sound the best going into it, but what I was really trying to find out is how different are these really? And the answer was not too different. It's how you use it, how creative you get with what you say into the microphone, what you record. That's going to make the big difference. Also how you process it, how you mix down your song. And if you'd like to know more about that, you can check out any of my mixing tutorials in the description below or here on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be seeing you guys in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time with another tutorial. Peace out.